Is Garrett Nussmeier or Arch Manning or John Mateer the best quarterback in the entire SEC? And how will things shake out in 2025 for the top half of college football's, most dominant conference over the last 25 years? What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on Step Mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football every single day here. We do 24/7, 365, as I say. So if you're into that, subscribe, hit that button. It costs nothing. It's free. Like the video and answer this question in the comment below. Quite simple. Who is the best quarterback in the entire SEC? I think we can have ourselves a robust debate, right? Because on paper, it's Garrett Nussmeier going away. He is the only returning 4,000-yard passer in the entire league, and he's going to have an absolute bevy of weapons, right? Assuming he gets Kyron Lacy back, I hope he does. I really do. We're going to put that situation that he's in to the side here. He's also got Nick Anderson, who could have been the best wide receiver at Oklahoma. Deion Burks doing a lot over there, right? And he's also getting Bauer Sharp, who was damn good tight end from Oklahoma. And he's also getting Barian Brown, who is, I think, one of the fastest players in the entire country and one of the most dynamic return specialists in the entire country at Kentucky, and who probably wants to develop into something like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, or dare I say it, Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas. And this being a year in which we expect Garrett to put his foot down on the floor and throw for all the yards, do his best Jaden Daniels, his best Joe Burrow, and see if he can't be the third Heisman Trophy winning quarterback since, 2019 at LSU. There's a lot there. There's a lot to like about what Garrett Nussmeier is able to do. If he can put together consistent performances each and every week, that's a Heisman finalist right there. And he has the moxie to do it. And he's frankly been given control of the offense. So I think you're in a good spot there. The problem for that is Texas exists, and so does Arch Manning. Now, Arch Manning does not have the statistics that Garrett Nussmeier does. And to that point, nobody does. He also doesn't have the starts. But what we have seen of Arch Manning has led us to believe that can be one of the best players in the SEC and one of the best players in the country, because he's playing on a team that we expect to contend for the national championship. We expect to contend for the SEC championship. And he's got at least a little bit of experience under his belt in real game time, important situations against opponents that matter, Georgia, and opponents that don't, ULM, UTSA, Mississippi State, okay? Is he going to be able to do to the rest of the SEC what he was able to do to Mississippi State? Maybe. I think it's more than likely, though, because I believe that he's a more talented quarterback than Quinn Ewers, which is saying quite a bit because Quinn Ewers is a talented quarterback. But what Quinn Ewers didn't have was Arch's ability to make it happen when the play breaks down and to run away from people chasing him. There's only a handful of guys in the SEC that get to make that claim, right? Even Lenore Sellers is not necessarily running away from people. He is running over people, which is different. But John Mateer can run away from people, and Marcel Reed can run away from people, but he's not as great a passer as one Arch Manning, right? And then you get into John Mateer, who had outstanding stats, right? 3,000 yards passing, 800 yards rushing, all the TDs on a team that was not very good. Given that he's going to get some better weapons at Oklahoma, but not the weapons that you're going to see at Texas, like Ryan Wingo, for instance, I expect he'll be good. I expect that he'll be much better than what Oklahoma did have last year, which was a revolving door at quarterback and nobody really trusted. The only folks that had a worse quarterback situation inside the Power Four for me were at Michigan, who was really able to beat Ohio State with Davis Warren at quarterback. Oklahoma couldn't beat Navy with Michael Hawkins at quarterback, but they could beat Alabama with Jackson Arnold at quarterback. I think John Mateer is worth at least 2 more wins, which gets you to 8 wins if you're Oklahoma and gets you out of the losing season that you had. Just the second losing season Oklahoma's had since like 1998. Both of them belong to Brent Venables, which is awful. Love Brent, but got to get that quarterback thing sorted. And that might be one of the reasons why you think he might be a little bit further down the tree when it comes to the better quarterbacks in this league, because the one guy that we haven't talked enough about, I think now, is Nico Iamaleava. Because I don't know how many of y'all put this together, but Nico led Tennessee to its first college football playoff appearance in year 1. Was he great? No. Was he about as good as Taylor Green was at Arkansas? Yes. Difference is Tennessee was a better football team than Arkansas until Arkansas had to play Tennessee, right? Taylor Green was a 3,100-yard passer, had 600 yards rushing, outstanding player for Arkansas. They just needed to be better offensively running the football when they didn't have their bell cow backs, and they need to be better defensively. Got to stop people. Lenore Sellers also ranks for me because I think that's, again, Jalen Milroe light. That's a 2,500 passing, like 600-yard rushing quarterback. Problem is, if you got to throw the ball to beat folks, that ain't going to be Lenore Sellers. He's not going to be the guy that's going to be completing passes downfield with any level of consistency. I think that's one of the reasons Aaron Nolan transferred in, is you'd really love to have that kind of guy in the bag if you can and be able to go to him, especially if you got guys like Nick Harbor. You got to get that guy service, right? You could have the SEC's version of Jeremiah Smith out there. We would never know it because Lenore Sellers couldn't be trusted to throw that football and make sure that it got to playmakers in space, the way that Xavier Leggett was getting the service from Spencer Rattler the year before. I am inclined to think about Garrett Nussmeier at 1, given what I just said. I'm smitten with Arch Manning. I don't know where to slot Gunnar Stockton. What we've seen of him so far in gotta have it situations has been a lot of attitude, a lot of courage, and a lot of confidence. I still need to see him complete passes at a much higher clip, and I still need to see him in a pocket that is built for him and a scheme that's built for him. I think they got as much of that as they were going to get during their time off to get ready for Notre Dame. It didn't happen. It didn't work, right? You're going to get him better receivers than Carson Beck had, because I believe that Georgia had the worst receiving core in the SEC last year. And you're adding Zachariah Branch to this mix, and he's going to make you better. He just is. He's going to make you better. Nate Frazier's returning to run the football. You're going to be better. Oscar Delp's returning to play tight end. You're going to be better. I think there's still some room you can use in the spring portal window if you want to go sign another wide receiver or two. But I've always thought you can go get wide receivers. Getting good quarterback play is something else. I still just don't know what it is that we're going to do when we see Gunnar Stockton. But right now, I think it's Arch at 1, Garrett at 2. And then we can start having a discussion, quite frankly, because I think this is a very talented quarterback group. We just haven't seen a whole bunch of them yet.